conspiracy theorists have been quoting Asimov's words about solar eclipses as evidence of the artificial origin of the moon. Mainstream astronomers disagree with such an interpretation, saying that the angular diameters of the moon and the sun don't perfectly match during eclipses. They vary by several percent over time. Many other pieces of evidence confirm that the moon is a solid body that formed after a planetoid crashed into Earth.
I'm going to do a reaction to this video regarding these new discoveries that are happening on the moon. I want to go over how they discovered this. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure they will tell us. I'm not going to keep you too long. I'll go ahead and start playing the video.
There's something happening inside the moon, something that nobody expected. Not a dramatic shift you'd see on the outside, but deep down, where things seem frozen in time, scientists have uncovered a hidden layer of what you could only call moon goo. Remember the school lessons about the crust, mantle, and core? Much like the Earth, the moon is made up of layers, a crust, mantle, and core. However, the moon's core is much smaller compared to ours. Earth's core is huge. It makes up about a third of our entire planet's mass. The moon's core makes up only about 1 to 2% of its mass, and its diameter is about 1/5 the diameter of the moon itself. It's surrounded by a hard, rocky mantle. But it turns out that between these two layers, that mysterious goo layer, and it's way more important than you might think. The layer is soft and partially molten, ebbing and flowing like the tides in our ocean.
The way they're playing this picture is like, did they bring a sample of this goo back? And who knows what they brought back or what they bring back, and who knows how many of these missions that aren't reported. And I'm just curious as to how they determine this goo. I mean, I'm sure they use particular tools. I'm sure they will tell us, but it's just got me curious already. It's like it seems to be like they brought it back, and I wonder what's the process for bringing things back to Earth. I'm not saying they did here, but it's just making me wonder the way they're talking.
It rises and falls, stretching and shifting as if it were alive. Its movement isn't chaotic, but subtle and regular. We always knew that the moon influences our seas and oceans, causing tides with its gravity. But it turns out that we influence it back. The goo ocean reacts to the gravitational dance between Earth and the Sun. Also, the molten layer could be made of ilmenite, a very intriguing material. Ilmenite is rich in titanium, a strong and lightweight metal that we really love over here on Earth. Titanium is used in everything from airplane parts and spacecraft to medical devices, even in everyday items like bikes and laptops, all because it's incredibly strong and very resistant to corrosion and heat. So, if the moon might have a molten layer rich in ilmenite, that would be awesome. Astronomers are already planning for lunar bases, and if we had a material to build structures, spacecraft, or even tools for astronauts right there, that would be a game changer. Otherwise, we'd need to transport materials from Earth, which is extremely costly. This is our first tangible sign that the moon is not just a cold, boring rock. Instead, it's dynamic, living, and breathing, with moving forces beneath the surface. NASA used new special tools to discover this: the Gravity Recovery and Interior Laboratory and the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. These are both space missions designed to study the moon, but they don't just look at the surface like a telescope. Instead, they help measure things we can't see with our eyes, like the moon's gravity and how it changes over time. Grail sent 2 small spacecraft around the moon named Ebb and Flow. Clever. The idea was for these spacecraft to fly close to each other and measure tiny differences in the moon's gravity as they go. It's like they were feeling the moon's invisible pull in different places. If the moon's gravity was stronger in one spot, the spacecraft moved closer together, and if it was weaker, they moved farther apart.
This makes me wonder if they used the gravity to help the spacecraft move around the moon. Because sometimes, even with here on Earth, I know sometimes we use gravity as far as air travel is concerned in some cases. It just made me wonder what they use or how much fuel they use, because that's a lot of traveling there. Or maybe they have a special self-powering unit. I have no idea. I'm just rambling and guessing. But I'll get back to the explanation.
This helps scientists understand what's going on inside the moon, even if they can't actually go there. And the spacecraft intentionally crashed into the moon in December 2012 to end the mission. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter is a bit different. It takes super detailed pictures of the moon and collects other important information about its surface. By combining the information from both GRAIL and LRO, we were able to find this goo layer. But this discovery actually challenges everything we thought we knew about lunar geology. How did this molten layer get there? How long has it existed? And perhaps more fascinating, how it stayed warm for millions of years? That's $1 million questions. The moon's core generates heat just like ours, but it's not as easy as saying, oh, the core's heat probably keeps it warm and molten. Well, first, the moon's core is much smaller and less active than Earth's, meaning it produces significantly less heat. Plus, the moon is much cooler than Earth in general. With temperature dropping to minus 200 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface, how could this inner layer still stay in this flowing state? That's still a mystery. In any case, this goo could actually explain a lot of stuff about the moon. For example, astronomers were exploring moonquakes and how they happen. Now they think that it might be this semi-molten layer shifting and moving beneath the surface. Now, beyond the moon itself, it also tells us more about other celestial bodies. If the moon, something we considered basically a huge static rock, has such a dramatic life, what about other planets, moons, or asteroids? Could they also hide similar hidden movements beneath their surfaces? We can even understand our own planet better, learn more about how tides and similar stuff works. There are so many great discoveries we've been making on the moon. Recently, we found some awesome stuff beneath the surface, massive caves hidden for millions of years. For over 50 years, scientists have suspected that the moon's surface is full of underground tunnels and caves. These are known as lava tubes because they were formed by lava. Duh! Millions of years ago, the moon was pretty unstable. It underwent some volcanic activity, causing eruptions. When a volcano...
This makes me wonder if there's any drone footage. If they found any of these tunnels, maybe they're going to explore them in the near future or already exploring them. I would probably try to get some drones on the moon and have them explore those tunnels and see what's down there. Another thing that made me think is how would you, I don't know, I guess they have the technology. If they can send a spacecraft, they could also find ways to power the drones in these tunnels. But it just makes me wonder.
erupts, lava can flow across the surface. As the outer layer of the lava cools and hardens, it forms a solid roof of dark material. It's actually what these famous dark spots on the moon are. These are dark, hardened remains of ancient lava. But the hot, molten lava continues to flow through the center. Once the eruption ends and the lava drains away, what's left behind is an empty, hollow tunnel, hence a lava tube. On Earth, we have lava tubes in places like Hawaii or Iceland, where volcanic activity has created similar underground tunnels. The same thing happened on the moon billions of years ago, although they're much crazier compared to ours. In fact, lunar lava tubes are now thought to be some of the largest and longest in the entire solar system. One such cave was discovered beneath the famous Mare Tranquillitatis, the place where Apollo 11 first landed, and it's at least 340 feet deep. Now, all these lava systems have remained hidden just beneath the surface, untouched for millions of years. Only now, they finally managed to prove their existence. Scientists from the University of Trento in Italy found them using special radar technology and advanced computer methods. These techniques let you see underground by sending radar waves. The waves bounce back and give clues about what's hidden underneath. By analyzing the way these waves reflected back, the researchers could detect the shape and size of the hidden caves. Now, the best thing about this discovery...
This kind of reminds me of the way bats use sonar to determine if something's in front of them or not, determine how to avoid things. It seems like a similar concept. I don't know. It could be wrong. Could be just off on that, but it kind of reminds me of that.
is that we could build all our bases there. These caves protect from radiation, harsh winds, and meteoroids. NASA even found evidence that some of these caves stay at a steady 63 degrees Fahrenheit. That's some crazy coziness for the moon. And on top of that, there could even be some water there. So humans could take shelter inside these natural tunnels and build entire colonies on the moon.
Before I even think about sending any humans there, I would probably send robots and drones and a lot of remote devices. You gotta get video and audio just to see what's down in there before I send human beings in to explore. Because you never know how treacherous it is in the caves and what's there. I'm sure they haven't found any living organisms, on the moon, but it may not be anything living, but just we don't know how treacherous it is. So I'd probably do a lot of remote exploring first. Send back some video, send back some audio, long before I think about sending any people in the caves.
And I know what you're thinking. Could unexpected lunar monsters hide deep in those caves? Well, sure. There's a huge potential for exploring these caves and finding some awesome stuff. But even if we manage to find a miracle, like small life or microbial organisms, there's a 99% chance that there won't be actual animals or monsters. It would just...
This reminds me, I saw an old movie, I don't know the title, maybe someone knows. There wasn't exploration going on in the moon in this movie, and the astronauts were being attacked, but they were being attacked by sentient rocks. So the rocks weren't biological, or I guess carbon based, but it was just basically rocks that were alive, and they were rolling along, and you're just thinking it's rocks, you're not thinking that this is what's killing people, which is maybe for a very interesting sci-fi horror, maybe a sci-fi thriller movie. But again, just because you don't find any biological entities doesn't mean that there are no monsters. I doubt there would be. I mean, maybe there's some infection they could get, but it's just something to think about. It's not always biological.
Just be impossible for them to develop in such conditions. But it would make a great horror movie. Researchers want to send robots or drones to explore the tunnels first, and then see if they're safe enough for humans. And it's not just the US getting in on the action. China is also investigating the possibility of using these moon caves as a future base, showing that the race to explore and settle the moon is heating up. Okay,
I'm going to stop here. He's going to start comparing the moon to cheese, it looks like. But let me know what you think. I think it's interesting, these new discoveries. I'll probably do a part 2 to this to see what else they discovered down there. I just thought this piqued my interest, so I thought I'd share. Thanks for listening, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.